David Shaw here with another off-the-record story. If you want to learn more about Washington, D.C., come visit my site, offtherecordtours.com. Let's go. If you take a group tour of the Capitol, your bus will drop you off here across from a statue of our 20th President, James Garfield. If anyone remembers Garfield, they know him as the president who was assassinated and died 8 months into his term. But why would a president with such a short tenure be remembered with a statue like this in such a prominent place? The answer is that there's more to Garfield than his untimely demise. Garfield grew up poor in what was then called the Western Reserve, which is near Cleveland, Ohio. Raised by his widowed mother, at 16 he worked on the Erie Canal handling the mules that pulled the barges. He worked his way through Williams College and was elected to the Ohio State Senate. Garfield, not that one, this one, joins the Army when the Civil War breaks out and was appointed a general. And early on, he realizes that in many respects, the war was going to be the easy part. His time in the South let him see firsthand the insidious nature of white supremacy and repression in those states. Even before there was a thing called Reconstruction, Garfield knew it was going to be tough. The first thing many noticed about Garfield was that he had a really big head. A Republican, Garfield was elected to the House 9 times. He was a great orator and served as leader of his party. He was a supporter of the gold standard and supported a strong approach to Reconstruction of the South that protected former enslaved people. Garfield was a teacher, a soldier, a politician, a preacher, sometimes all at once. Now, in Garfield's time, every government employee, from the Secretary of the State to the postmaster in a small town in the middle of nowhere, was a political appointee. That meant that politicians appointed government employees, and this was called the spoils or patronage system, and it was rife with corruption. Garfield doesn't like the patronage system, and he and his fellow Republicans make several attempts to institute a civil service. But like every politician, he does use it to his advantage. And when he's sworn in as president, he is inundated with job seekers. And one unsuccessful job seeker assassinates Garfield. Charles Guiteau, most likely suffering from schizophrenia, who is upset that he's been turned down for government jobs, shoots Garfield at this D.C. train station, which is now the site of the National Gallery of Art. Garfield lingers for weeks before he dies. Garfield got along with everyone in Washington. You'd never hear him speak disparagingly of someone, even those he adamantly disagreed with. He admitted to a friend, "I'm not a good hater." The sculpture is by John Quincy Adams Ward, who was a friend of Garfield's. He also did the statue of General Thomas Scott in Scott Circle. So I like that when you arrive here at the Hill, you're greeted by Garfield. He served nearly 20 years here, and you can't but wonder how the post-war South would have been different had he lived. And it's good to be reminded that there was a political leader who may have disagreed with you, but was never disagreeable. Well, I hope you enjoyed that off-the-record story. If you want to learn more about Washington, D.C., things seen and unseen, arrange your tour of your nation's capital at offtherecordtours.com. Until then, I'm David Shaw.